Limoncello one. Okay, I've been meaning to try the Swedish fish one. One of my buddies recommended it to me, and I love Swedish fish, but like in an energy drink, like I honestly don't really know.
Right.
Or maybe scoot a little bit more in. There we go. You can play footsie while the camera goes.
But having major back issues with, going to the gym and doing what I do for work, it's
Body of a 40-year-old and
exactly.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
I bounce between feeling like I'm half decent and then like I need to take a break because I'll be on a wheelchair when I'm 40.
Right.
It's terrible. When did the back problem start for you?
That was started in wrestling in high school.
Yeah,
so maybe my junior year. So I went to go see doctors then. They said it was just growing pains. Well, motherfucker, I haven't grown since 8th grade. And now I'm actually seeing a spine specialist on the 27th, hopefully to get my problems figured out. I was diagnosed with a bunch of back issues when I was like 20, but they wouldn't do surgery on me because I was just too young.
Yeah.
So hopefully 4 years changed their ideas now.
Did you go for like a single leg and like they were too far away and you put too much weight into it and just slipped something?
I think it was just like practice.
Yeah, just drilling.
Just happened in practice. I mean, there was always this one kid that nobody liked, and we were roughly around the same weight class, so I always had to practice with. You could smell the dude from across the room.
It's the worst.
Just a nasty guy. But I mean, there was one day specifically where my back was really starting to act up. I let everyone know of it. We started doing some live drills where he started, on top. I started on base. And he just cross-faced the shit out, like super illegal cross-face.
Yeah.
And like cranked my back backwards, so I lawn chaired backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I was crying. I was in so much pain. And then my best friend, who's been wrestling since he fell out of the womb,
Yeah.
he was like, "I got it. I'll take care of it." So he started doing live drills with the dude that fucked me up, and then he left practice before practice actually ended in tears, crying.
Good.
In pain, just destroyed.
You love to see it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Love to see it. Egos being broken is the best thing
Yeah.
ever. There's always like one dude at the gym, less so for like weightlifting probably, but they're probably someone who wish they could, who just wants to be the guy to like hurt other people.
Right.
And it's like there's this one guy. I'm not gonna say him by name, and just because maybe people from the gym are watching this, but it's like I can count the amount of injuries on like 2 hands that I've gotten from this one guy. To where it's like my chance of getting injured over not getting injured, it's more likely that I'm going to get injured if I go with you this one time than I'm not going to get injured. It's like there was like half torn labrum in one shoulder, the elbow tendonitis that just never goes away from like an armbar being ripped. It's like, God damn, it's like you are aging me by years from your ego.
Yeah.
It's like, get the fuck away from me. No, I'm not. I don't want to go with you.
Right.
I'm scared. My body's scared. Yeah.
Your fucked up body and joints and just problems amplify so much when you get into a physical sport like that, a combat sport especially. It's not fun at all.
Yeah. Have you been deadlifting at all?
I have actually. Deadlifting is my favorite movement out of everything, surprisingly, with back issues, but deadlifting doesn't really make my problems flare up too much.
If you do it right, and a lot of times the deadlift can actually fix back issues.
And it did. I mean, I went from not even being able to pick the bar off the ground to deadlifting.
Keep on talking. I'm just gonna make sure you're in for okay. We're good.
What am I at? Like 350.
I was gonna say
ish.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people don't realize they just cut it out completely.
Right.
I deadlifted with a belt wrong for like 6-7 years, and like it got so bad. Like I think it was a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, that like I would deadlift. I'd feel fine the second I would let the bar down, and my back would like decompress a little bit. I was on the ground, like unable to walk. It was so bad. I'm like just like laying on the ground doing like the cat stretch to try and like loosen it up a little bit. Or like I'm just walking after the gym and I feel it shift in my back, and next thing you know, it's just complete pain, searing pain down the back. I'm too young for this shit. Like, I got it. Why? Yeah, back issues. Back issues are shit.
I talk about my back issues at work all the time, and all the old guys, they're like, "Oh, you're too young to be having those problems." Yeah, you're right. I am too young, but I'm still fucking having them.
Yeah. The job also doesn't help either. Because what do you do?
I'm a union iron worker.
Union iron worker. How hard is that on the body?
If you're doing rebar, it's a lot harder than what structural will do to you.
Okay.
Because structural, I mean, what I specifically do is pretty much just weld. Primary welder, backup connector. So what I mean by that is, all the frame of the building, right?
Yeah.
All that's got to go together somehow. So you got two guys, crane operator, and the ground crew rigging everything up, and they send it up with the crane, and me and another guy put it all together.
It's kind of dope.
Playing with giant Lincoln logs.
I bet. You ever thought about doing like the underwater welding shit?
Okay, so
I want to hear about that. 'Cause it looks super. I know. I've seen the amount people like charge for
right.
it. Like the ungodly like $200 an hour for an
yeah.
underwater welder. It's like that sounds real nice, but obviously there has to be a catch.
So when I was in college for welding, I was either going to go the underwater route or the structural route. And I started doing a bunch of research and whatnot, and that's actually when I developed a fear of the water.
Oh, you too?
Yeah.
The water's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the life expectancy of your career as an underwater, as a commercial diver. So there's no like actual underwater welding. It's all, you're a commercial diver. You do.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's like 10 years. Don't quote me on it, but
is it just wear and tear?
Wear and tear and all of the decompression and whatnot that your body goes under when you're going down into the water and coming back up. You have to go so slow, otherwise you're going to get
the bends, I think it's called.
Yeah, the bends. It's nitrogen poisoning.
Yeah, the bubbles rising too fast in your blood.
Yep.
The symptoms of it sound horrible.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing ever. Do you know Scott Pilgrim?
Heard the name.
So he has this diver license, and like when he was getting his certification, he didn't like officially get it, like he wasn't diagnosed with it, but he said like after like one night where he thinks he like resurfaced too fast, he just like literally like was writhing in pain for the full 15 hours, like crying because he's like just like pain, this searing pain throughout his whole body. And like a lot of people go into comas from it apparently too, and like the death rate also like super high from the death rate from it as well. It sounds terrifying. Yeah, the ocean's a scary place.
Back in the day in the ironworker bridge building times where there's no safety rules or anything like that, people were getting that poisoning before they even knew what it was, and guys were dropping left and right from it, because how are you supposed to solve something if you don't know what it actually is?
I'd imagine, yeah.
So
insane. Have you seen the videos like the people on like the side of oil rigs who are like half underwater, like a harness attached, like welding something as the waves hit them? Like that looks really cool. But also like I don't think with my fear of the ocean. I've always, like thalassophobia, like the fear of like large objects underwater.
Sure.
Like just the thought of like the ocean and like just looking down into like the black, just darkness, just literally makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, I definitely would rather fall to my death than drown to death.
Yeah. Especially in the ocean. If like whatever reason like I die, I don't know, hit my head in a swimming pool, that's fine. But if I'm in the ocean, it's just sinking down.
And there's sharks and shit.
Yeah, giant squids. Have you seen that like the photo from like the oil rig of that thing that's like looks like a squid but it like stretches down? My God, like it's just an alien. It's an alien like 3,000 feet underwater that like only lives in like the dark depths because like that's just its environment, and it literally drags its tentacles along like the ground and finds things to eat and kill from that. Straight out of like a horror movie. Like I'm actually gonna have to show you like a photo of this thing. It's this thing.
Oh my God,
isn't that terrifying? Like that just amps my fear of the sea to like a whole new level.
who takes those pictures?
Oh, it's just a photo. It's just a camera that's underwater,
Right.
That like catches this like alien-looking thing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, absolutely not. Heights. I'd much rather do heights. Much rather do heights than that.
When I first got into ironworking, I was terrified of heights as well.
Did you get like were you able to adapt to it?
Yeah, you get used to it. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
Especially if like you're all in the trade, and like that's what you're dead set on doing, like I am. You learn to love it.
Yeah.
You learn to love the fear. You learn to love the adrenaline rush, and sometimes your safety equipment is what will trip you up and make you fall.
Why? How's that?
So there's different kinds of safety things that attach onto beams to prevent you from falling, you know? I use what we call a tie-off choker. It's basically just wire rope, and you swing it around the beam, and you tie off to it with your personal retractables that are attached to your harness. And sometimes, you know, you're moving fast, you got something to do, you got to go somewhere quick. Your feet will get hung up in all that, and
Then you
trip and hope you don't die. Hope you don't fall.
Not fun. How high up are you when you're working up there? Like 40, 50 feet?
Yeah, roughly.
Okay.
So the building that we're on right now is a three-story building to the roof, right? So the roof is the third story. And that's, I want to say 60 to 70. And that's I got some pictures. I can show
Let's see
you.
the pictures.
Us ironworkers love our pictures. So this is when I was connecting.
Oh, that is quite high.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be death.
Yep.
Like instant death if
And
you
then
hit.
there's me just standing on top of that.
Damn. Yeah, that's crazy.
A lot of fun.
I'd imagine so. Like fear and dopamine are like pretty closely related, especially when it's something you can conquer.
Mm-hmm.
Like man, like I'm an adrenaline junkie.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I'm a huge adrenaline
For
junkie.
sure.
Like I was the kid who'd like volunteer for like the first speeching class because even though I didn't want to do it, it's just like you get out of that rush.
Yeah.
It's just, you get to feel that like burst of adrenaline, and then you have to seek something more and more and more.
That also probably explains the 2,000 milligrams of caffeine you can.
Dude, it's so bad. It's terrible. Like it's so bad that like when I like piss after drinking like an energy drink, like you can smell the caffeine. Like it has a scent to it.
That's disgusting.
It's so hard to explain, but like the way your body like processes it, it's just like through my pores. There's just like caffeine molecules leaking out. You're probably getting a contact high by talking to me right now.
Your pheromones just leak caffeine.
Most people like pheromones like opposite sex attraction. For me, I just get the whole crowd hyped around me. Dude, I'm walking pre-workout, and it's so bad at the same time. So how were we talking about the liver? I got a bunch of blood tests done, and everything was good, minus my liver enzymes. Super high. Like, I think like 90 some whatever nanograms per deciliter was the max for this liver enzyme. The max, like that's the upper end. I was like 110. So not like poison yet, and not failing yet, but not good either, especially for like a young dude, because it's like I drink maybe like once every 3 weeks, and I'm talking like 3 drinks and I'm done because I'm just a huge lightweight. So it's probably the energy drinks, honestly.
Right.
It probably is. I'm gonna be like the first person to like. There has to be. I guess people like overdose from like stimulants all the time, but I'm gonna be like the first person in like Wisconsin to like die from bangs, not from like drinking like having too much in one sitting or like a heart attack. I'm just gonna get poisoned over time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's terrible. Do you have like an energy drink? I mean, you're in ironworking. I feel like it's almost required to have like a substance.
Rain is usually my go-to.
Rain.
So like I'm in an apprenticeship, and I have class two times a week at night after work. So I stop at Quick Trip. I'll stop at Subway, get a bite to eat, and then go to Quick Trip and get myself a water and a rain.
Are you just doing like one a day?
Yeah.
Oh man,
My caffeine intake is just coffee in the morning and then pre-workout on the nights I don't have work, or nights I don't have class when I go to the gym, obviously, and then the rain when I do have class.
Lucky guy. I wish I could feel that. It's like,
And I thought my caffeine intake was high.
oh, dude, you have no clue. There was, and this was probably honestly at my worst. I was doing like 8-9 bangs a day, just 3 back to back to back, and then I'd do like 3 again before the workout to like try and get to the gym. And then I'm like, after the workout, I'm having more just to like be half awake too.
That's not good.
Yeah, like most people would honestly probably be dead. The issue was like super early on, like I correlated the feel like I'm talking about like I remember it was after a workout. It was like I trained chest with one of my buddies sophomore year of high school, and he goes, "Yo, have you ever had a bang before?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Well, let's go get you one." And this is when the old Century. Do you remember the old Century in town? The one that closed down, kind of.
Oh
yeah, yeah. The one that I think there's a new Quick Trip where it used to be standing, something like that. He took me there and he got me a Bang Energy. I drank it, didn't feel anything. Then I'm in the shower, and I just get hit by this wave of euphoria. I've never felt better in my life. I start screaming, pounding my chest. I turn the water to full cold, like blast music. I'm literally like acting like an ape in the shower. And for 6 hours, I never felt better in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started this terrible downward spiral of like, you have it again, less of a good feeling, then you need to up it. It's literally like the definition of addiction. Like the definition of addiction is the progressive narrowing of the things that cause you pleasure. Like needing more of something to cause the same effect, and just this downward spiral. So that's where we are right now. Yeah. I'm really lucky that I can't tolerate like DMHA super well. You ever taken like a DMHA pre-workout?
I have. I bought something like that from here, I think it was.
Yeah, probably. You can't really get it.
I think it was that Convict, actually.
Yeah, Convict.
Yeah, and I threw up like 4 times just at the gym.
Oh, you too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... The issue is, it's literally Adderall. Like,
Okay.
I'm talking about, you have the DMHA, 1,3-dimethylmethylene. You add a hydrogen chain to that, you get Adderall. And you add a hydrogen chain to Adderall, a few hydrogen chains to Adderall, you get methamphetamine. So it's a cousin of meth, ultimately. And so for me, it's like you throw up a few times too. I remember the first time I took it, had a great workout, but I was supersetting my bench presses with throwing up in the bathroom. Like I'm talking about like I'm in the gym lifting, having a great time, and it just feels so well. And so I'd run from like the outside, like the sports complex area, to like one of those 2 bathrooms, do like a slide in, throw up in the trash can, hang out there for a few minutes, and go back to my workout. And then I went to church after the workout, and I'm sitting in the pew, like tripping. Like I've never tripped before, but I'm like flying through like space and time. Like I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. Oddly good while also not feeling the best either at the same time. The second experience was a lot worse than that because I took 2 scoops of Convict, which was like 3 times the initial DMHA that I took, the first workout. And I remember my vision narrowed completely to like a slit this big. I started sweating, like just pouring sweat. I was actually working at the athletic club at that time, so I was working there. And then like next thing you know, it's like I feel awful. And I threw up every 15 minutes for 8 hours straight. I laid in their closet. I was in the Janesville Athletic Club closet, laying on the floor, just like rocking back and forth in place, my like face against like the floor, the concrete floor, trying to like relax, recover, to then turn to my side and throw into like a plastic bag. Hell, it was awful.
Yeah. And
I quit pre-workout for like 2 months after.
So what's your pre-workout of choice now?
Pre-workout of choice. Honestly, I need the carbonation. Most pre-workout tastes like shit.
That's very true.
And like I'll like buy new pre-workout and it tastes good for the first 3 doses, and then I just can't stomach it at all. Which is probably a good thing, but that means I spend like, okay, listen, I could buy a house if I wasn't addicted to Bang Energy. Like, we're talking fuck you yacht money at this rate. Like it's that bad.
That's not good.
It's not good at all. It's like I could be married right now. I could have bought a ring with like the amount of money I spend in Bang Energy.
And
in a
those
year.
fuckers ain't cheap.
They are cheap. Yeah, you're recently engaged.
I am.
Yes.
I am.
How's the wedding planning going? Probably stressful.
Not for me. I'm not planning anything.
That's what I told
I'm just along for the ride, man.
That's what I told my girlfriend. It's like, when we do get engaged, it's like, this is all you.
Yeah, Gabby just kind of gives me 3 choices of whatever she thought was the best thing, and I picked that out, and she's like, well, what about this? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's cool too. We'll go with that.
Yeah. It's a good thing about being a guy. It's like, less is more. Less thought is more. It's like,
right.
Why stress about like a small detail and like ultimately ruin like the whole process when I can just...
And honestly, that's why we're getting married out in Montana, just with small, like just parents, grandparents, and siblings.
It's dope.
That way we're not worried about... There's always that one family member. Everyone's got them. Worried about them ruining everything.
Yeah.
So we're just going 3,000 miles away from home, so no one can fuck anything up.
Yeah, 100%.
And then 6 months after the wedding, we're coming back for well, we're not coming back 6 months after, but we're doing the reception 6 months after. So that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a great way to do things. Man, people just can't fucking keep their mouths shut.
Yeah.
Like, I had the same thought, too. I told my girlfriend, I'm like, listen, when we get married, I'm putting an octagon in a side room, and anyone I hear talking shit about the wedding that they got invited to, that they're getting free food at, I'm beating the fuck out of them. Like, yeah. I'm throwing them gloves with my tuxedo on and going in the fucking cage. Like, it just, nothing irks me more than people who like have that mindset of just like constantly bitching about everything when there's no reason to bitch at all, and they're guests.
Right.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible.
Gabby's maid of honor is delegated to bodyguard / bouncing detail.
Crowd control. Yeah, that's good.
So if anyone that's not on the guest list decides to show up, I'm sure there might be 1 or 2. She's in charge of that operation.
No slack. No one's getting
like, that's our goddamn day. Don't come and ruin shit.
Yeah. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone it's something to do with like just like the wanting of chaos. No, there's always that person who, and hey, listen, I thrive off of chaos.
Oh, I love confrontation.
Oh my God, it's like, all right, I have a story for you.
Okay.
All right. So at Culver's, there's this one kid named Liam. Adult. He's an adult. He's like 2 years younger than me. Like grown dude, graduated high school, always talking shit, lazy as fuck. And it's like, all right, you do a half decent job, you show up, so we'll keep you on. And then he hears about me doing MMA, and he goes, Colin, I could kick the shit out of you. And I was like, no, you probably couldn't, but come to the gym. This motherfucker, on the worst night that we had, no call, no shows, his shift. I'm talking about like I was there for like an extra 10 hours past where I should have been. Like I should have been gone at like 5. I was there till like midnight at least, and he just disappears, and I was like fine, And so we write him up, anything, and then he's like, then he has the nerve to go, where were you at MMA this night? And I was like, covering your ass. I'm like, show up next week. So he shows up, and I'm like, he walks to the door, I'm like, in the cage now. I think I was like, put your fucking gloves on, get in the cage. And so he gets in the cage. And I think the whole thing lasted about 40 seconds. The first time I've ever knocked someone out. It was this beautiful, just clean hook to the head. He I got him like his back against the cage. He tripped a little bit, clean hook to the chin, out for a few seconds. And I walked away. And then he started bleeding everywhere. And I was like, clean your fucking blood up. Bathroom's that way.
I don't think I could have waited for the gym. That would have been a trip to the freezer in the back room of the store.
The blind spot of the cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, some good old-fashioned justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start beating the shit out of him with some frozen chicken or some shit.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good feeling, though. That was great.
Oh, I'm sure. That's wonderful.
The HR person we have thought it was funny, too. Which is even better, because he was already fired at that time, too, as well. Already terminated, signed the waiver, so it's like... Actually, yeah, it was a good time. Need more of that.
Right.
Justice.
We just need to bring bullying back.
That was the next thought pattern
of
a mind. Yep. You know how many like idiots just wouldn't be idiots? We could bring back bullying.
Right.
No more cat ears. Did you have that when you were in high school?
No, that was
you missed it.
Yeah, that was
Thank
after
God.
my time.
Lucky man.
That was well after my time.
It's like gone worse. Like we had a few people walk around with tails. And I don't know how I didn't like rip these people apart in public, because now it's just like, if someone like actually was doing that in my class, it'd just be like, it'd be for their own good. But it's
Right.
like, to have to like sit in an environment where you're required to respect someone like that, now in high school, I'd be a menace to like the teachers, to those people, because
Right.
those people just don't deserve respect.
No, they
Like,
don't.
Absolutely not. For their own good too.
Yep.
Like, have you seen that one meme? And it's like this Arab dude, and he's like, "What's the cure for such disorders? Beatings." And I'm like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Would have made them a little bit. I don't even know, dude. I can't even like. Can you imagine like wearing cat ears?
No, I couldn't. Not even for Halloween.
Not even for. It's just just to think you're an animal, a furry.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely not.
Not my cup of tea whatsoever.
Yeah, I just don't get it either.
What do they get out of it, honestly? Like,
Maybe it's a community aspect. It's like, yeah, I don't even know though. Like, because why would you want to be a part of something that weird? Is it just because you have no one else to take you in? That the furry community, the small community of just weirdos, like, it gives you that little bit of like acceptance,
Right.
And then you just kind of like get assimilated into them.
no, if these people want to identify as cats and dogs and whatnot in schools, then why are they even allowed in schools? If we have to accept them for who they are, dogs and cats aren't allowed in school, so why the hell should they?
There was it's either I think it was my mom or dad. It was my dad. My dad's a teacher, and he mentioned how like one kid's like tried to like actually get a litter box put in the classroom. I think they tried to. I think it was just
In the classroom?
In the classroom,
That's disgusting.
Or would bring it to the bathroom. Like there's an attempt made to like institute something like that. It's just like, I'm glad I missed that. Like that's like the stuff that I was that towards the end. Like I there was some like stuff that I was surrounded by, but like that. But like, man,
How do teachers that have a normal thought process, like just a normal person's brain, how do they go about their day-to-day life having to deal with that kind of shit?
I think it's the society of acceptance. I think it's that mindset. And like I don't even know, because like everyone would say that's weird. Everyone I know, like everyone would say that's weird, but like there's still people who are losing their jobs over like being against that stuff. And I don't. Is it just because like the people who like want the cat ears and like the cat tails are just louder than everyone else?
It's just the woke ideology.
Yeah, but like I know quite a few woke people, and like so like most of them I'm able to have decent conversations. Most of them I'm actually able to have decent conversations with, for the most part. There's some people where it's like I just gotta close my mouth to avoid getting terminated, because self-preservation to a point, which hurts in and of itself, because like to have to not be able to like reject just idiots sucks in and of itself, because it's this oxymoron. Like anyways, but it's like, how is the movement so powerful to where like people are losing their jobs, teachers are losing their jobs, but like I feel like I still don't see enough of like the craziness. I don't know if you do, like personally, if that makes sense.
So, okay, here's my honest thoughts about all that shit. I think that the people that truly run this fucking country, not the president, there's people above him. There just has to be.
Yeah.
They want the destruction of this country. They want the destruction of society, because out of chaos comes order, right? So they're just going to let us, the people, destroy ourselves so they can come in, sweep up the mess, and then truly invoke essentially the New World Order.
Yeah. Their form of control.
Right.
It sounds like, and like the issue was like a few years ago, like I would say that it sounds crazy, but it's like, listen, I know myself. I love power. Like I really enjoy power.
Right.
Like the feeling of like physically dominating someone in a cage is a really good feeling. The feeling of money is a really good feeling. The feeling of, being capable of like things that other people isn't is a really, really cool thing. Or feels really good. I also know I shouldn't be the one to like wield that power either. Like I wouldn't want myself to be the president or to be like have millions of dollars. I would, but like I don't at the same time, because I know like how easily corruptible it is.
Right.
And it's like it just doesn't stop with like 100K in the bank. Then you want $1 million, then you want 10 million, and then it's like Now it's like I want to buy people. I want to like it just
Mm-hmm.
completely goes through the roof. And so it's like now imagine if you didn't like you and me. I'd say are pretty like moral human beings, still human beings. Imagine like if you're the type of person who doesn't have that morality anymore. It's like what would you do for that money?
Exactly. So, and there's another thing that, I kind of thought of on the way over here. Like, the politicians that get into politics for the right reasons, right? Say someone that's in it for the wrong reasons comes up to you, slaps a blank check on your desk, and says, if you do this for me, you can write whatever number you want in there. What are you going to do? Like, honestly.
Yeah. And to think that I'd probably take it, which is a scary thought. And that's I'm trying to like be a person who wouldn't take it, but I just know myself as a human being. The thought would at least go through.
We're all sinful creatures.
100%. The thought would at least everyone who's like, no, I wouldn't take that. They're lying. They're either are like the 0.01% of people who are like objectively, morally like actually morally superior and have that like just basis of goodness in their hearts that like you rarely see. Like, how many people do you know that are good to the core?
I couldn't name anybody off the top of my head that's like
Yeah.
truly not immoral, have no immoral values.
Yeah. It's so rare. And I think it does exist, but like at a very like people say, "Oh, I think like, 60% of people are good human beings." I think like most people have the ability to be good inside them, but I think a lot of times it's really really easy like that spiral. And I know a lot of people give Jordan Peterson crap, and there's things that I agree with and things I disagree with him. But like one of the books that he talked about, and it's actually a really good book. I've actually read parts of it, like called I think it's Ordinary Men, or Good Men. It's one of the two. I read a lot. I read a lot of books, and it's just kind of I don't know the exact one off the top of my head, but it's about these Polish policemen who were brought in pretty much as a Nazi cleanup crew. And they were before the period of all the propaganda, so they grew up without it. So they ultimately like had normal base that humans would and understand like, okay, this is life before it, this is what the Nazis said. And they were of an age to where like they were fully grown before the propaganda became a thing. So people who were able to understand the difference between right and wrong. And they were told by one of their commanding officers, like, ultimately, hey, if you guys want to leave, you can. If this gets too fucked up, you can leave. And due to honor, not wanting to abandon the group, they all stayed. And it started off as, finding these people, bringing them to the Nazis, ultimately leading to executing pregnant women in the middle of fields. These normal people who probably had good bases went from and through this whole process they're becoming physically ill with themselves, nightmares, relationships are falling apart until they've done enough bad and they've raised up that level of just fucked up to where it's just now them. It's never. It's like this, like these steps. Like I feel like no one
brainwashing process.
100%,
is what it is.
100%. Like no one starts off evil. Very few people. I think there's going to be like. There's like this statistic that 2% of people are sociopaths, and even those people can live normal lives, especially when they're like raised in a loving family for the most part. But it's like very few people start off as like actually bad creatures. It's like most of it's taught, and so for like to people to take these steps, like okay, we got handed this check to make this decision that ultimately doesn't hurt anyone on paper, so why not? It's like if someone told you, like for me personally, it's like a lot of money to me is like a really sizable amount of money is like $50,000 on up. It's like you can do a lot with $50,000, especially when you're smart. Someone's like, hey, $100K for you to put your vote towards this policy.
Right.
Why wouldn't you take it? Obviously, it's wrong. It's a bribe. You're in office to uphold the Constitution and be a good person. But like ultimately, like why wouldn't you take it? It's a victimless sin.
To them.
Yeah.
But to us, it's not victimless whatsoever because we pay for every single fucking thing they do.
Every single F-22 shipped to Ukraine. Every single.
That
could be a whole podcast in and of itself.
It really could.
The corruption, the widespread corruption. Like, and here's like I'm like I think Trump put it well. He's not pro-Ukraine, pro-Russia. He's pro people not killing each other. And that's kind of where I draw the line too. But it's like you look at Ukraine, it's like one of the number one exporters of like child pornography and snuff porn in the world. Widespread corruption. They're forcing out the Orthodox, like they're trying to like essentially kill Catholicism in Ukraine, destroying holy sites. It's like whether you think like Russia's evil or Ukraine's, whether you hate Russia, hate Ukraine, like ultimately like I don't think either. I don't think Ukraine's good. Like I don't think it's as morally simple as Russia bad, Ukraine good. Like people are propping this person up as a saint when in reality he's not.
Right. And why do we keep shipping billions upon billions of dollars? Who knows how much ammunition, weaponry, tanks, the HIMARS, all that shit. Why do we keep giving them more and more and more? And what are we getting out of it? We are getting nothing.
Yeah.
What are they getting for kickbacks?
Yeah, so I read a statistic, and it's like 1 out of every 7 pieces of equipment that they receive. Like, what? So 6 out of every 7 pieces of equipment we send over there actually doesn't end up in the hands. It gets sold in the black market. It's like 1 out of every 7 like pieces of equipment we sell actually gets used for the correct purpose. But 6 out of every 7 is sold. I know that we were sending them these drones that they could use to like attach explosives to, and people were finding them like all over the like different countries. These very specific like manufactured items, like being sold to different weapons and markets around the globe, and it's like what we gave them versus what's actually used and what gets sold on the side is very disproportionate.
Right.
It's like, and
it's disgusting, is what it is.
Yeah, and to say that we have to support this war, like that people who can't even afford food have to support this war is absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they just keep fucking us in the rise of the cost of goods, taxes, goddamn gas. And all of that money is getting shipped over to a country that is nothing but a child sex trafficking outfit.
100%. Yeah, it's not good. Just gonna make sure you're still in frame. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it's just bad on all fronts. I think capitalism is ultimately the more neutral option. Communism is obviously evil, and unregulated capitalism is obviously terrible for everyone. It's like we're at a point right now to where it's just not working at all.
What we need is somebody that truly cares about the American people that will crack down on corporations, will crack down on violent crime, crack down on pedophilia, all that kind of shit. But we will never get that because the people that are truly in power will never allow it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we've gotten close a few times. Like I very much I don't ever want to be like the, there's like I don't know if there's a word for it, but like the people who are so pro Trump that like he's a god, and like I'm against idolizing any human, like
especially
politicians, because like the groupthink, you surround yourself with the people who are supportive to you.
Right.
Suddenly this person becomes incapable of doing any harm, and ultimately like that in and of itself, like you have to be able to like view someone like honestly, like pros and cons. Like okay, like for me, like I voted for Trump because pro-life, supports the U.S. being put first over other countries, pro-gun, as well as a few other policies that I enjoyed. Doesn't matter if he was a great person. Honestly, I could care a little bit less about that because he supported these movements that ultimately like led to a better nation. Whether he like himself like really acted towards it, like as long, especially when compared to someone like as negative and as bad as Joe Biden, like some things I could overlook, but to like completely idolize someone like this person is like incapable of any fault, it's just like a mindset like whether it's Joe Biden, whether it's Trump, it's just not positive.
Right, and I think it's really fucked up that we only get those two guys.
Yeah.
Out of like Ben Carson.
Yeah.
He was a doctor running for president. Why can't we get him? And I liked Trump in 2016. I did vote for him in 2020. But now at this point in time, I feel like the politics and the power has gotten to his head, and he's just another politician.
Yeah.
Just in it for himself, just like every other one is.
Yeah. Ultimately, if it came to him and Joe Biden again, I'd vote for Trump because it's just
Right.
obviously there's a more positive option in there, but at the same time, it's so demoralizing. It's like we can't. It's always the lesser evil. It's always the lesser evil.
Why does it have to fall down to that?
Yeah, I think it's just I truly, everyone's like, oh, racism, unregulated capitalism. I don't believe the system is racist, but I do believe it's highly elitist.
Mm-hmm.
It's highly elitist. And
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So we can get into that's another podcast in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So Hunter Biden, right? He got charged with tax evasion.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to slap, well, they probably didn't want to, but he was going to get charged with a felony gun possession charge as a drug user, but that charge goes away if he takes and completes a drug class. There are people spending the rest of their lives in prison for just dealing weed, and he gets off on a gun charge if he just takes a class. Are you fucking kidding me?
There's videos of him smoking crack out on the internet, the hookers,
right?
The possessing of a gun, bragging about breaking
the goddamn cocaine that was found in the White House
that they couldn't eat, the most surveilled place in the world.
Yeah,
they couldn't track it back to anyone.
Right, and the Secret Service said they initially said that it was found in the library of the White House. And then they changed their mind that it was found in a guest locker room. I don't know the correct words.
Yeah.
But it was a section of the West Wing that was open to guests of the White House, and then that's where they found it. Tell me that the Secret Service can't just look at a goddamn camera and find out where a bag of cocaine was found?
100%. Yeah,
no,
it's impossible.
No,
and
it's
you
all
know
cover up.
You know that there's some good people there too who chose to keep their mouth shut as well. It's
then that doesn't make them good people.
It does not. It does not. There's some people who were morally struggling with the issue, but ultimately chose to cave to all right guys, we're gonna sweep this under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes me so I just can't have faith in the system at all when it's
how can you?
That hidden, it's just that blatantly false. It's oh man, how much I would love for the video of him the cocaine falling out of his pocket
mm-hmm.
to be released. Dude, that'd be the best ad for any Republican conservative
mm-hmm.
that come out. It'd be incredible. It'd be awesome.
Staying silent on those issues just enables the person committing all these acts, and then you're just as guilty.
100%.
Just as guilty.
And
as
you now because you were complicit in something, you also can't be the one to change it around too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were made a part of this. It's a crime.
Mm-hmm.
You're lying for the gain of monetarily, power-wise, of another person.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever oath you took to be in the office, I don't know exactly the protocols that people who are part of the security teams do, but it's you get sworn in, you're
mm-hmm.
breaking that, and ultimately causing people in power to gain more power, and the people who are suffering on the bottom to suffer even longer.
All these motherfuckers that are involved in these cover-ups and staying silent and all this other bullshit, every last one of them needs to be charged with treason. All of them, yeah. Because
it will never happen, though.
It'll never happen, but that's exactly what they're committing is treason.
100%, yeah. You can't, there can't be the standard can't just change person to person. You have to have, a set, this is what happens when this happens type
mm-hmm.
deal. And law-wise, I do believe there has to be some wiggle room in terms of punishments.
Mm-hmm.
The person who had a terrible uprising who's addicted to a drug maybe shouldn't be charged the same as a person who, the whole dealer type
mm-hmm.
thing. It's I understand that there has to be you have to look at it a little bit more situational slightly, but for these crimes as atrocious as what's happening right now, and the people being hurt, it's you can't do that.
No, I agree. But what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought.
Me too.
But okay, let's go another route. another thing to look at is the mainstream media, right? How come all of the people that fit the narrative, that live by the agenda, they are all praised in the media? And then you got the people that are starting to step on the toes of that agenda, and they just get destroyed in the media. Like, look at Trump, all of his
100%.
political career. I mean, I'm not a big Trump supporter anymore, but still, if you're going to prosecute somebody on one side and not prosecute someone on the other side, where's the fucking balance?
Yeah.
Why does the system have to be so corrupt? And I just...
Not even just prosecute, but rip someone apart over and over and over again, spread that information to thousands of people. It's like, you know how many times I'd be in like class and I'd hear something, like even like, so I was a Democrat up until probably junior year of high school. Like there'd be times like when I was like a full blown Democrat and I'd hear something just absolutely crazy. Look into it a little bit. And it's like, you know, this isn't right. It's like, this is, you know, what was said might not have been great, but this was twisted so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I would hate to be like a famous person. Number one, because I'd either have to cave to the woke agenda, or just see myself get ripped apart over and over and over again. My words twisted into something that doesn't even wasn't even indicative of half of what I said initially. It's, yeah, it'd just be awful. Like I could not stand that, and that's what we saw with Trump. It's like, did he say some great things? No, he said some really stupid things. But you got like, you would hear like this person overheard this person saying this about this,
Right.
And then it's like, then they make a whole sting of, they make this whole like sting project on it, and next thing you know, it's the Bible. It's like this irrefutable. Rumors are irrefutable proof, and then everyone believes that it happened, and it's like obviously this isn't true, or can't. Even if it was true, there's no proof that we like said it.
Right.
It's like I don't have proof. You could make up any like false accusations about someone, and like if you're able to get enough of a base and tell enough of people, it just becomes like fact at a certain point.
The American people are so quick. Both sides of the aisle,
Oh, yeah,
really.
both sides.
But the American people are so quick to just believe anything that validates their beliefs.
Yeah, the groupthink idea.
Yes.
Yeah, groupthink. My buddy Brendan brought that up. He's just like, I was like, oh, so this is when I was like a full-blown Republican, and I'm like, oh, so who you voting for, Democrat, Republican? He's like, I refuse to identify with either group because the groupthink it will start twisting my brain, and I'm like, I was thinking, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. So how many times have I been a part of a group? It's like I've heard something that might not have been correct, but I'll still side with it because there's a group of people who are like me spouting the exact same information.
Right.
Super damaging long term. Yeah, it leads to a lot of bad stuff. And then like you can't like once you side with it, you can't like ever like go back and say like, oh yeah, I actually did disagree with it because you supported it, you condoned it. Yeah, a lot of stuff wrong in society.
No, I'm totally with you.
You know what I would do?
What's that?
If I could, I would just disappear my phone. You know, to not, and it would suck initially. It would be awful initially, but to not be bombarded by just constant dopamine sources from like the news. Because ultimately, like when people read that news title, like the news headline that makes them angry, ultimately they're receiving pleasure from it. They're getting the endorphins from being mad. They feel good about themselves for a minute. They can bring the issue up to someone else who then validates their own opinions, and it just becomes this negative feed loop cycle of good
Headline believers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that'll just read the headlines and go by that like it's scripture. They won't even read the article. Mind you, the article is probably bullshit anyway.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But they'll just Google one thing and be like, oh, first thing that came up, that's right.
Yeah.
Like Google as a company isn't part of the problem.
Yeah, no, everyone has an agenda.
Yeah.
I have an agenda. You have an agenda. I mean, to think that like this, and like I said about what we were talking about earlier with people being, very few people are objectively good, and so why would a corporation be objectively good? They wouldn't be. They just wouldn't be. The probability of them being objectively good is even lower than the 0.001% of the person being objectively completely good, as a whole. So everyone has an agenda, and I think it's a lot darker than like just electing someone. I think it like comes out to control, like long-term control of people and like where their money goes, what energy, like how their energy of like their lives is put into stuff. Even like TikTok, for example, it's like it's designed to addict you young. Like it's made in a way to take advantage of the dopamine pathways in your brain, so you keep on swiping, you spend more time on the platform, you look at more ads, and they profit more as a company. If there's not a cost associated with you being part of a platform, you are most likely the product. Yeah, it's awful. Like, why is porn so free and accessible? Because you're the product, like, ultimately.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and it's like, for me, like, I was... So, like, I've talked about, like, porn before, like, and stuff like that, and it's like, I don't think it's as simple as, like, oh, you watch porn, you're a bad person. It's obviously not as simple as, like, if you watch porn, you're a bad person, but, like, I think that the widespread availability of it is so damaging, like, as a whole, and, like, how addictive it is. Like, it's the most... Dude, free boobs. Like...
Men, who doesn't like seeing free boobs?
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Right.
Yeah, 100%. Men were a lot greater when boobs were hard to see. Like, the amount of, like, sex someone can witness, like a 11-year-old, is going to be more than any king could have. 100, probably not 100, but like 1,000, 2,000 years ago. It's like, why wouldn't that mess you up as a person?
Right.
And then it like ruins your sex life because you're addicted to it and whatnot too. So it's not. I also dislike calling something a sickness too, but it's just it's an abuse of the brain. I think that's probably a good way of putting it.
I like that.
Yeah, and people are profiting super heavily off of it too.
Oh yeah.
All the people pushing for it to be accessible. It's like there's I think Utah talked about like age verification, and like people are protesting that for like being 18 years and old to like watch it. It's like, if I didn't have that 5-year stretch where I was addicted to it, it's like how much more progress could I have had? If I didn't get out of it also too as well, maybe I wouldn't have even started lifting in the gym. Maybe I wouldn't have like chose to do anything with my life. Maybe I wouldn't even be here recording the podcast.
Right.
So yeah, it's that, other drugs, the dopamine, like from everything is just such a huge issue.
Pornography definitely can put a toll on a relationship.
Oh yeah.
If both parties aren't really into that, but look at back in the 50s, 60s, just back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Marriages didn't end in divorce like they do now. You figure it the fuck out. I mean, your car breaks down, you get a flat tire, you go buy a new fucking car. No, you fix the tire.
Yeah.
But today, it's not like that at all for the majority of people.
The majority of issues too.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it's a bunch of iPad children, with quick fixes because of the immediate information. Immediately being able to call up someone you want to talk to, immediately being able to see whatever you want on the internet. It's just trained people to not have to work for anything anymore. And so why work for marriages when you can just sign a paper and start a new one? That'll probably end in the exact same way too as well.
And it's terrible that that's how our society is developed into, but I mean, I'm a firm believer in one marriage. Like, you're all in that. You want to spend the rest of your life with this person, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I've came from a broken home. My parents are divorced. They divorced when I was 12 years old. My mom served my dad divorce papers the day his dad died. Fucked up.
Wow.
But a child growing up in a broken home like that, where the parents just hate each other, is detrimental on a young child's mental health.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and men's mental health is something that I'm really big into. And I'm pretty sure you've been depressed. I've been depressed. We've all been depressed. And what is the true way to fix that?
Having a mission. But who has a mission nowadays? Very few people.
Right, because we can't be seen as the weak ones in society. We're the builders. We're the protectors. We have to do everything. We suffer in silence.
100%. Yeah.
And that's also why you need a good woman in your life.
Yep.
I mean, a good woman isn't there to fix your problems.
No.
She's there to hold your hand down the proper path that you need to go to fix yourself. You can't look for somebody to fix your problems for you.
Absolutely.
They can, like I just said, they can walk you along the path, but you have to fix those problems yourself. Otherwise, your problems are never truly going to be fixed.
Yeah. I'm very against, this person completes me. I wouldn't be anything without them.
Right.
Like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, and until it all falls apart, because when they can't support you, through like when something, maybe they're allowing you to cope, half cope through what you're going through now, but it's like when they're gone, when they can't be there for you, you're going to fall apart.
I feel like that's a very immature way of thinking. Like, if that's truly how you think, you're not ready for marriage.
100%.
You're just not. You need to be, as a man, you do need to be that protector and that strong person for your woman. You need to be there, but her role also, gender roles, I believe in them.
100%, yeah.
But
it's just like, for everyone who's like, why, if there's anyone who's watching this right now who's like, oh, gender roles don't exist, it's like, listen, testosterone, let's look at one component of like the male, like the differences, the primary sex differences, and there is sex differences. They're not the same thing. When you look at what testosterone does to the body, and what the lack of testosterone does too, the roles of estrogen and roles of testosterone. Testosterone, like confidence, drive, energy, it obviously builds muscle. There's a very testosterone builds muscle, gives you facial hair. No, it literally makes effort feel good. Like it makes you want to fix problems, and it also makes suffering enjoyable for what's worth it as well too. And it makes you better. It makes you a better fighter. Makes you a better leader. Like there's a study done on businessmen, and the best businessmen had higher testosterone than the ones who didn't. Low T. I've had low T. I got blood test done when I had super low testosterone, and guess what? I felt like a bitch. I had no energy. I wasn't a leader. Once I was able to get those biology markers checked and fixed, next thing you know, literally almost unlimited confidence, the ability to lead. Girlfriend had more respect for me. People had more respect for me. I got jobs. I got promotions at work. I moved up through the chain of command. It's like I know that there's women who are better leaders than myself. I know that there are women lifters who are probably stronger than me. There's women lifters who certainly bench more than me.
100%.
That's cool. There's women who could lay me out in the gym, but I know like when you compare like the general percentages, it's the deviations of like the norm, like the vast majority of people. You're gonna see like an obvious placement and an obvious difference between the sexes, and I think you can't. It's just an argument you can't make. It's like, I mean, could you name someone that you know, like a woman who could beat me in a fight?
No. Off the top of my head, no.
Could probably name like 20 guys though who probably could.
Would
have a chance.
Right.
100%. It's like, and those are better, stronger, faster men than me. Granted, we could probably find a woman who could stand a chance.
But you'd have to go looking for it.
You have to go looking for it. And is there going to be, in terms of nurturing and caring for someone, I'm gonna be shit at that compared to like the potential of like my girlfriend, for example, and the generally speaking other women as well too,
because they're natural caretakers.
100%.
It's how they're wired.
Yeah,
we're wired to protect. They're wired to care.
100%. Yep. Care and nurture.
Yep.
And both are equally important. Like you can't have one without the other. Personally, for me, like I'm happy. I'm a dude, but also it's probably because I am a dude. Like I feel right in that role for a reason. Like you do feel right in that role for a reason. Like I mean, there's probably gonna be like stay-at-home dads who like feel happy in their role too. But how many stay-at-home dads would be like missionless, feel empty on the inside? It's like there's a reason why men want to be the breadwinners, and reason why statistically men who are like aren't responsible for the income are more depressed than women. Or have a much higher like rate of depression than normal people.
I would love to be the one that works and have Gabby take care of the house, the family, the kids. But where we're at in society doesn't allow that.
Yep.
It's just our system does not allow for a one income household. It has to be two.
100%.
And I would love more than anything to go back to those times where a man could make the living for the house, have the house, and 2 cars in the driveway.
With the high school education, too.
With the high school education.
I have an associate's degree in business, which, I mean, obviously it's not a bachelor's, but it's like I'm still struggling to find jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that shouldn't be an issue.
Right.
And I've gotten a few offers that are going to be better, going to be decent. But like I'm looking at people who don't have that, they're probably not even getting interviews.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
I know of college students that just finished college with their $400,000 degrees that are working at Walmart right now.
100%. Yeah, because they can't find anything. The bar is the bar is unnecessarily set so high,
Mm-hmm.
and in terms of like mechanical, like engineering doctorates, like actual medical doctors, physicists and whatnot. Like I understand why the bar is set so high in those areas, but for people to get a job as like a manager,
Mm-hmm.
or like an entry level, what should be an entry level like job, it's so unnecessarily high, purely for the reason of funding those colleges that put the money. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
all this massive ploy to extract every dollar and to trap someone in that cycle.
It's an unpayable loan. is what it
Oh,
is.
unpaid, yeah, completely agree. And it sets your life up.
Predatory. That's what it is.
Yeah,
It's a predatory loan.
100%. Yeah, completely agree with you. And it's not just the immediate money you're paying for the degree or the long-term money. Your time.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're tied to this job. You're tied to your liberal arts degree. And let's say you get a job making $39,000 a year with your liberal arts degree. You're stuck there because you're not going to have any luck elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're the 1% of people who's able to find like that niche. And I'm on the other end of things. I'm also not for hustle culture at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. I think that a lot of it's people who go viral for preying off of people who are stuck in the cycle
Mm-hmm.
and who want them to follow their programs.
Predatory programs.
Predatory programs. It's equally evil on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, buy my program, help, and then buy my dropshipping course.
Where are these people learning all this from?
Yeah, it's like, and I still think it's like how to start a business in 2023. It's like spend this amount of money or buy this dropshipping course, rewrite it in your own words, and then start selling it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and
We're in a time where everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but not everybody is built to be an entrepreneur. And there's nothing wrong with being an intrapreneur.
Yeah.
Someone that is working within a company to better the company and actually want progress for themselves and a better work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone is just not built to be an entrepreneur. I mean, I fell victim to that too. But I also possess a skill that not a lot of other people have. Not a lot of people are internationally certified in welding. I possess that. And I would absolutely love to take my skills and do something great with them. But it is incredibly hard to start your own business.
Yeah.
And it's just easy to fall into your 9-to-5 because that's comfortable.
Yeah. You gotta. I think that like the best way to approach, and like this is from someone who like ultimately had an LLC that like I had to stop because it was losing me money.
Mm-hmm.
But like at the same time, like you can't. There's those like the 19-year-olds who are like fuck college, fuck education. I'm gonna hustle. I'm gonna grind. There's value in that. There's also value in working 9-to-5 to then fund your dreams, and like you got to find a middle ground to where it's like, all right, we're gonna suffer for this amount of time at a job to build up a hobby that could eventually turn into something worthwhile, and then maybe if it leads me the right way and I'm able to take enough risk, eventually it could be a career that could be my own
Mm-hmm.
thing. But at the same time, there's people who are like the fucking 18-year-olds who are like flexing on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Who are like, oh, wait, this one fucking kid in high
With
school.
their rental Lamborghinis.
The rental, yeah, it's that thing. There's this one dude, and like I don't know if he made legit money, but he like went viral on TikTok at my high school. This kid like cross dressing, wore skirts to be cool, and it's like super hard to talk to because just superiority complex off the bat. And like he had like a few TikToks that went viral, started like a clothing brand, moved down to like California or something. I haven't seen anything from him in like a while, but it's just like he was that like hustler, that person who's like, yeah, fuck college. Everyone said I'd be a failure. Look at me now, type deal. And it's like maybe you had a little bit of the right idea, and honestly, if it's making you money, I mean, cool. I mean, obviously you sold your soul.
Mm-hmm.
You're fucking wearing makeup. You're a dude. It's fucking weird.
It is fucking weird.
Yeah, it's not right.
Just completely shit can all your values just for $1.
Obviously, like, yeah, posting clearly like try doing it for like the power of the women, the money and whatnot, all the wrong reasons. You're not providing for anyone. You're not carrying on your bloodline. There's no good values.
What legacy are you leaving?
None.
Yeah,
you're not just leaving. You're not leaving no legacy. You're leaving an empty hole of legacy where family members are going to be like, he had so much potential, and look what he did with that potential. He didn't just not do anything. I'm now ashamed. I'm now ashamed of my kid.
That digital footprint doesn't disappear.
Absolutely not.
Like all these girls with OnlyFans that currently have kids.
God, dude.
That currently have kids.
Oh man, I hope this doesn't come back to bite me. I'm not going to name any names, but at a job that I may or may not be working at right now, there's this person. He's like talking about how his girlfriend like sells feet pics or something like that, and who also works at the job too. And number one, it's like that is porn. That grown men who are addicted to it, that might be ruining relationships, financially ruining them. Causing them to fall into depression. You're contributing to that. Number two, it's like you're a dude. Like to say that you don't care, that other people are seeing. And I don't know for sure. I know that it was talked about, like an OnlyFans was going to be started too. The fact that you're a dude is like, yeah, I don't care as long as they're happy. As long as like you're not maybe a cuck by definition, but you're a cuck. Like that's. The fact that you get upset when I call you a cuck to your face, that's what I did. I'm like, that's kind of sounds like a cuck.
Yeah.
It's like the fact that like you're getting like super angry about that
makes you a cuck.
Makes you a cuck. Like the fact that you have to defend, like as long as they're happy, it's like no, that's completely wrong. It's like, and then people like one person was like, so if your girlfriend decided to do OnlyFans, what would you do? And I'm like, I'd break up with her.
100%.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
100%.
Dude, I'd be running out that door. Like, even if my girlfriend like mentioned it offhand, I'd be like, the fuck you are.
Right.
Absolutely not. Like, number one, you're contributing to a huge problem in society. Massive problem. Number two, our relationship and its roots are just being thrown. Because if a gift is given to everyone, it's not a gift anymore. If the gift that was supposedly reserved from me that makes our relationship special is now freely handed to anyone with that little bit of...
Oh, it's not free. It's $4.99 a month.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what your body is worth. $4.99 a month.
Yeah, it's not worth it at all. Yeah. Oh man.
I don't understand how it's not prostitution.
I mean, by definition, it is. It's just because it lacks, and I think that it's almost as equally terrible as prostitution. I think prostitution, because it's physical, there's a lot more immediate danger in it. I think like a lot more
physical danger.
A lot more physical, like immediate danger. And I think that even though it's almost the same by definition, like some of the harm is maybe negated. Some of the harm. Like a part of the harm isn't necessarily part of the process anymore. It's just because it's like a little bit of lesser evil doesn't make it not an evil anymore. It's still terrible.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Every single dude who's like, who feels good after masturbating?
You don't. You get that 10 seconds of the dopamine, and then it's gone, and then you feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah. Whoever was like, would you ever, like, for me personally, it's like, when I was in, like, the middle of, like, my porn addiction. I haven't watched it since. Like, there was, like, one day I literally, like, woke up and I was like, this is wrong. And I quit it then. Like, for, like, the first 6 months when I was in high school in a relationship with my girlfriend, I lied about it. And then one day I woke up and something clicked morally in place to where I knew it was wrong. And I'm like, this is it. And I cold turkeyed it, never went back, game over. Like, it was done then. But it's like, who goes to their buddies and is like, man, did this girl I masturbated to on the camera, it was incredible, dog.
Right.
Like, is that has anyone ever had that conversation with anyone? Who's gonna brag about the virtual boobs they masturbated to? No one.
No one in the right mind.
No one in the right mind. Yeah. If you're part of a friend group that like rewards that kind of behavior, man, you're not a good friend. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not. Being good isn't affirming someone's actions. It's affirming
holding people accountable. For their actions.
If I was falling down a dark path, I wouldn't want to be told I'm this beautiful creature capable. I don't want to be told.
I support your choices.
I wouldn't be told. I wouldn't want to be at my roots. I wouldn't want to be told that. It might sound nice on paper that someone's supporting me, but ultimately they're not being a good person. They're not being a good friend because they're letting me have this be stuck in this feed loop cycle that will ruin me long term. So I do the same thing for my friends. It's like, I mean, there's gonna be there's a difference between that. Like, dude, like the hard drugs, like a little bit. There's a difference. It's like if I have friends who are like constantly like saying, "Hey, I'm gonna do this," I'm gonna hold them up to it. I'm gonna give them shit when they don't do it because they said they're gonna do something that is ultimately beneficial for their lives. At the same point, too, me surrounding myself by people who don't hold the same values as me as well, too. It's like I'm not doing myself any good either. Right. It's like you fall to the level of your friends. Generally speaking, you are most like your friends. So why not surround yourself with good people?
Good people, successful people, people that actually have ambition, people that want to succeed.
Oh, yeah.
People that want to better their lives and be the absolute best individual they can possibly be.
But you don't see that a whole lot anymore.
No, you don't.
No, it's a, hey, let's go to the bars this night. Well, let's do this night. And it's like, then you find yourself not moving at all because you're most like your friend group. And that's the same reason why, like, quite honestly, it's like maybe 2 good friends. And then like there's very little room for anyone else because it's like me surrounding myself with you is not making me a good person at all. Like I'm continually becoming a worse person by being around you.
And some people, some friends specifically, well, not specific to me, but if you have a difference in ideas, some people are so quick to let that drive a wedge in between them to where they just can't settle that difference, and then that drives people apart, drives good people apart off of one stupid difference of ideas.
100%. And there's some ideas that I believe you can't really tolerate. Like, there's just some stuff. There's some areas.
There's definitely stuff.
There's stuff. If someone's like, yeah, man, 16, it's all right. Fuck you. That's not alright. Fucking pedophile.
Yeah, now you need your ass beat.
Yeah, now you need to get kicked within an inch of your life to hopefully set you straight. And I never want to be associated with you, seen with you, talk to you again because you make me physically ill. Like there's that, and then there's like differences in ideology that need to be discussed. But some people, man, it's like the ones who are like, I knew them in high school, they were kind, but like I'm posting like a video where it's like I'm talking about the gym and whatnot, and I get messages, and it's like, you're spending all this time lifting weights, but like think about all the effort that could be put into like doing something else, or like or put all the effort that could be put into like supporting like all these movements that which movements I'm talking about, or the ones who are like, this is toxic masculinity.
Oh,
I can't
my
stand
God.
that.
Yeah, working out is racist now.
Oh my, yeah. And like, I saw the memes about it, and then I actually saw the headlines myself too. Like I was like
They're actually trying to push that.
They're actually trying to push that, and it's like, man, it's like you might like have good intentions as a person, but it's like I can't even discuss this with you because like my brain levels are like actually falling through. I posted a photo of a 1911, and like one of these girls actually dated for like a few months. I think her parent, like her parents are like the godparents of one of my brothers. Close families for the most part. Our moms are pretty close. Like great parents, Catholic parents, super great values. She was like, I'm just making sure you're not going to shoot up a school. Dangerous weapon. And then we're talking about like, and then before that there was a whole conversation about toxic masculinity and like, the conversation where it's like this is why does masculinity have to be good? It's like why don't we have to blur the lines? And it's just like you can't even have that. Like you can have that conversation, but especially when they're not going to listen to you, and like no like actual stuff is going to come out of it. like, I just get so sick of repeating myself.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of times, like nowadays, it's like some people it's better to not have that conversation with because they're going to become more set in their ways and they're going to go out of their way to hate you as a person too. So it's like there's some people to where it's like, yeah, let's be like they try and they'll like mention pursuing a friendship like offhandedly or like hanging out outside of work, and I'm like, I think I'm good.
Yep.
Like, I hope that you come to some realizations that benefit your life, and ultimately, I hope you win. But it's like you and me, our values, we're not.
Right.
Ultimately, you're not a good person.
Right. And kind of going back to the whole gun thing, like, I'm a big 2A supporter. I have plenty of firearms in my house. I am more than happy to have that conversation with any anti-2A person.
Yeah.
Like, but don't start screaming your ideas at me and let's actually talk. Like,
yeah.
I'm willing to change some of my ideas. This is just broad spectrum here. I'm willing to change some of my ideas if you can lay down the facts, lay down the logic, and give me a good reason to change my thought process.
Oh, 100%. But I was super anti-gun up until a few years ago.
Really?
I was anti-gun. I shot them before. Actually, I was really Boy Scouts. So surprisingly, most people shit on the Boy Scouts. Got to shoot a lot of guns.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do some really cool outdoor stuff. Ultimately, a great experience. And I think it'd be real. I plan on going back and eventually becoming a leader because kids need better role models now. But like, essentially, yeah. Anyways, it set me up to actually like be able to like change my mind on some topics because I could understand them.
I would love to take an anti-gun person to a gun range if they're sane, and teach them the proper procedures of firing a weapon, properly cleaning the weapon, and just the gun safety rules. Like, this is how it is. Don't steer away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get yourself hurt. Don't get anybody else hurt. And let me teach you, and then maybe you can teach me some things. Maybe you can share your ideas and how you thought what you thought of the experience, and then we could go from there.
100%. And like they're just number one, there's no education in their like arguments. It's like my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm building an AR. My first ever gun. I'm building an AR right now.
Oh, yeah.
I made the mistake. So I was originally going to buy Palmetto State Armory, one of their rifles. Had it in my cart, and then it went out of stock. This beautiful deal, for what you're paying for, a lot of very premium for like the cost compared to other ARs. So I bought the pieces instead. I forgot that if you're under 21, you can't take possession of a lower in the state of Wisconsin. So CTR has been holding on to my lower for the last 3 months that I can finally pick up tomorrow and complete my gun because I have the barrel. I have 1,000 rounds of 5.56. I have the scope. I have the foregrip. I have the strap. I have the case for it. I haven't been able to take possession of my lower, so I have a barrel of a gun right now.
Are you building an AR pistol?
No,
Like,
it's a
full size AR.
16-inch, yeah, 16-inch
Okay.
rifle.
I didn't know that lower thing was
Not
a
allowed.
rule.
If you're under 21, you can't buy a lower. You can buy the full gun.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and like the lady who was, so I used them as my what's AFF? I think that's the name for the people that can take possession and transfer the guns, the firearms. I think it's an AFT? No.
Why can't I think of the name either?
Yeah. Anyways, the class of dealers that can take possession and then legally transfer you after running background checks for the weapon. But yeah, the lady was like, she knew how old I was. She had my license. She was about to run the background check, and she's like, I totally forgot. Like, I can't even legally transfer this to you right now because you're under 21. She's like, it's an incredibly stupid rule, but it's like we can't even start this process right now. It's like I totally forgot this was a thing, and I'm like, fuck. So I'm so happy. It's like I finally got there. Funny story. I was stupid, and so after paying the time tax initially to then like get the lower shipped, I had it initially shipped to this dude. I clicked the first business that I saw, Turns out it's this dude running a gun business out of his home, but he's not even active anymore because the ATF suspended his license because he hadn't like taken one of their classes. So my gun literally was in transit to this dude's house, who couldn't even transfer it to me. Like, I wouldn't be able to take possession of it from.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get like shipped back to Palmetto State Armory, then reshipped. It turned like literally something that was like 1 week into 4 months because I was stupid and didn't pay the time tax.
Right.
Yeah, I should have just bought the full thing when I was up there, but I waited too long.
Tax and everything.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, especially my time.
Yeah.
I'm swinging by tomorrow. I'm super excited. I'll have to show you the build once it's fully done.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. With that, my mom, she was like, so like anything you shoot with that, like if you ever went hunting with that rifle, like the deer, there'd be no deer left, right?
5.56, I'm assuming.
5.56.
You're not hunting with 5.56.
Yeah, you're not.
Not deer hunting.
Not deer hunting with 5.56. And a lot of times, the rounds that you're going to be using for like hunting might even have more power than what you're shooting out of this rifle.
Oh, I use either a 308 or a 30-06 for deer hunting.
100%. It's not an automatic weapon.
No.
There goes the podcast. We ran out of battery, it looks like.
Oh,
That's funny.
that is funny.
Well, it's still, I think my phone's still going. We could